Dustin Baker, welcome to the Biohacking Secrets Show.
How you doing? Thanks for having me. Really appreciate you bringing me on.
I'm doing pretty well, thank you. Just finished a workout, as I was telling you before we hit record. I'm probably going to be sweating through the first 15 minutes of this interview, but that's all right. We're going to cover some good stuff about human growth hormone and how to optimize your sleep and stay younger longer, increase your health span.
Who wouldn't want to do that?
Right. So for our listeners who might not be familiar with some of your work, maybe you could give us a little bit of your origin story and kind of how you got into all this.
Oh, man. So I get this question all the time. It's like, how far back do you go? But so I got my start like a lot of guys do in their health and fitness industry. You know, in the earlier part of my life, I like to say I was kind of a loser, degenerate. I kind of wasted most of my 20s. I went through some tough times, teenage years, 20s, wasted my life, had no real direction, right? I had no idea where I was going. I had no idea what my career was going to be. I tried college. It wasn't really for me. I could barely read or write, let alone spell my own name through high school, barely squeaking by. And I met this gentleman and I was introduced to him through a friend. And my friend one day, from watching me drinking and partying and no course in life, kind of just trying to overcome the struggles some of us face throughout our younger years, was like, dude, why don't you try and get in the gym? And I had never worked out a day in my life, like for real. Like I had played sports younger and stuff. I wasn't really that good. So he's like, man, why don't you get into the gym? And I was like, I got nothing else to do. I basically, I don't even have a job. Basically, I'm doing all this stupid stuff. And that was like this turning point, which changed everything. Because from then, he introduced me to my first mentor, who was an ex-Olympic decathlete. And he brought me into this facility he was running, this fitness space. And he was training athletes. He did things differently than I ever seen. He mentored me just for not only health and fitness, but in life and in methodology and philosophy and, how to operate with people, how to build businesses, how to program for athletes. And
was this Caitlyn Jenner by chance?
No, but that would be a story if it was Jenner, actually. But
yeah, at the time it was Bruce.
Yeah, at the time it was Bruce. So, I still call him Papa Bruce, but, yeah. So, the reason why I tell that is because that was this big flip of my entire life. And what that man gave me was not only knowledge, education on training methodology and training athletes, but what he gave me was discipline. And I had never had that. And that discipline really kind of catapulted my career and had me ended up, within just a few years that I was running other people's gyms. I was taking other individuals' gyms over. From that point, I ended up being brought into professional athletics, collegiate training. I've been to the combine. We've trained athletes all off-season, NFL athletes, CFL athletes. I mean, college prep, college scholarship prep, primarily in football. And that led me into the fitness space of creating my own methodology, my own fitness businesses, and actual brick and mortar gyms. And the reason why I say all that is because the common thread between all of that were these formulas. And no matter what space I was in, whether that was professional athletics, collegiate prep, fitness, health, and wellness for the 40 plus crowd in our fitness facilities, there were these formulas. And they work so well, and we use them in every aspect of what we were doing. And, through those times, I had additional mentors and business mentors. And at the end of my work in training with athletes, et cetera, for a specific national franchise, he's like, man, what are we doing? How are these formulas not like easily accessible to everybody? So we went to the formulators that were here in Florida, and we bought them. So we bought them, and our entire intent and purpose is like to bring these formulas that are accessible to all these different elite individuals, but to the normal guy or gal who's trying to maximize their potential, maximize their life, the weekend warrior, the guy who's hitting that wall over 40 that doesn't want to feel like crap anymore. And that's what we've done for the last few years. And now what we have is a product that's head and shoulders above what it was originally created, that's technologically advanced, that integrates in the palm of your hand with your smartphone, and formulas that are more potent and pure than they've ever been. And that's what gets me on the show with you right now, Anthony, is now we're here to talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's such a difference between people who have either played organized sports at a relatively high level or spent like years and decades in the gym. And I think one of the big differentiators is that discipline, because it's like working out consistently forces you to flex that discipline muscle. Because most of the time, like, you're in situations where you have to wake up earlier than you would otherwise. You got to drag yourself to the gym when you don't want to, because we're energy conservation machines. And most of the time we'd rather just, sit around and do nothing than like exert ourselves. And like that process of executing on discipline and increasing your willpower and pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. When someone else is on the couch, you're in there trying to like squeeze out an extra rep. Over years and decades, it widens the gap so substantially between you and people who don't do that stuff that, I don't know, it's almost like two different types of human beings. And you can tell immediately when people like come into our program and they have never really trained or played sports, it's so much harder for them to do stuff that for other people is like, it's like, it takes them like a month or two to even get to the starting line, I guess. If that makes sense, because I don't know how to say it in a nice way. Their mind is weak.
Don't say it in a nice way. Say it exactly how it is. I mean,
because their mind is usually weak.
I mean, welcome to life. I mean, that's why there's such a people are always wondering, like, how did this guy do it? How do these people do this? How do these guys, achieve all these things? A lot of it. Yeah, there's always talent that's involved, but human beings always inherently have specific talents. It's the discipline to execute the talent. It's not necessarily the talent, because guys are out there that are doing incredible stuff, that are grinding every day, that don't necessarily have the talent, but they're going to outwork that talent. That is discipline. That is like, I know businesses.
Like the Rudy effect.
Yeah, I mean, it's still possible. I understand there's different people that are different heights and different things, and I'm not just talking about elite sports. I'm talking about everything in general. That one key factor is discipline.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
Always like a common thread throughout. We build that into our products. I mean, that is our core value. That is my core value to this business, is discipline.
Yeah. So from like observing your work with athletes and the people that you've trained and what allows someone to get to make like either quantum leaps in their physical and mental performance, or in the case of like elite athletes, that small 1, 5, maybe 10% improvement that is everything at that level. Like, what are some of the big differentiators, whether it's like the training methodology, the hormones, like what are you kind of looking for, and what are you seeing as like a predictable, repeatable pattern that produces improved results for those people?
That's a really big question. So I'll try and keep it as simple as possible. One of the things I would say would be self-awareness, or if you'd like to put it into a fitness or sports, euphemism, it would be coachability.
Yeah.
So your ability to take yourself out and look at yourself from an outside perspective, like your coach does or a mentor does, and actually be able to absorb the information and the feedback they are giving to you, and then executing that feedback is a massive difference. The guys that really succeed, and again, there's always extenuating circumstances, because somebody will be on your show and be like, "Oh, what about this guy?" And like, okay, I get it. But a common thread for the most generalized is coachability or self-awareness, being able to take an outside perspective of someone whose knowledge is worthy of acceptance, but and actually applying it and executing it. That's what we see in business. That's what we see in sports and performance. And that's what we see in just normal, weekend warriors who are trying to execute their goals. It's execution.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, one of the things that we're going to kind of get to, and I guess now is as good a time as any, is we're going to talk a little bit about human growth hormone. And, before we kind of go into that, I guess, what is human growth hormone? When someone asks you, what's human growth hormone? What do you say?
Human growth hormone is a hormone that's secreted by your pituitary gland in your body to spur all kinds of different effects from that point. And there's countless, right? Whether it's the elasticity in your skin, whether it's the rate at which your muscle cells differentiate or multiply for muscle gain or recovery, it's your metabolism, even all the way down to your sexual function. A hormone is a chemical that spurs a change in your body to tell your cells to do different things.
Okay. Cool. And, full disclosure, I took legitimate Pfizer HGH for probably close to a year. I had a pretty bad battle with Lyme disease and didn't know what was wrong with me. And all my hormones were completely out of whack. And my IGF-1 was in the gutter, and like I was having a hard time working out. So I got a script for Pfizer HGH, and I took it for a year and felt fantastic. I mean, it wasn't like, the doses that I was taking were like tiny. They weren't like bodybuilder levels. So I maybe I put on a little bit of muscle. My skin was probably the most noticeable thing. It was like my face looked like 5 or 10 years younger.
Yeah. They don't call it the God hormone for nothing. Like, it works. It 100% works.
Yeah.
It really does.
It made a big difference. I mean, I thought I was going to be like, you see like Ronnie Coleman and some of these bodybuilders, and they've got like the distended abdomen and all this stuff. And
their rib cage is exploding through their shirt.
Yeah. And I mean, you realize those guys are taking just like, ox level quantities of HGH, and they gave me like the smallest amount allowed. You know what I mean? But it did make a big difference for me in my healing journey, along with like a whole bunch of other stuff. So I wanted to mention that because this is something where I have a little bit of experience with like the pharmaceutical grade stuff. And then you hear rumors of people like, I mean, I've heard stories, and I can't back any of this up. So don't quote me on this. And this is just for entertainment purposes only. But I've heard stories about, LeBron James is on this stuff, and he's got, mysterious packages arriving that other people pick up, and da-da-da-da-da. And then, Madonna, my body is my experiment, and all sorts of like Hollywood celebrities. And then there's the things like, I looked at J-Lo the other day. I'm like, she looks better than when I was in college, which was like 20 plus years ago. I'm like, how is this possible? How many people are on this stuff? You know what I mean?
There's countless of different treatment styles and anti-aging applications for different drugs. Massive portion of our business and the history of our company, I mean, we've been around since 2009, is that anti-aging space and medical space.
Yeah.
So that is a world I am very, very familiar with. Most of my career at this point is now educating physicians and speaking with physicians and application of our products and, products like HGH, et cetera. While I will not mention any names, you can do that. You never know who's going to hear this. I get a different.
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
I get a different phone call. That's why I have attorneys. Is like you get a completely different phone call.
I have no idea what I'm talking about. That is just speculation.
Full disclaimer.
A friend asked me, and I said, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let me say this really quick. As my name is Dustin Baker, and I am taking no liability for the comments of Anthony DiClemente.
Oh, we're off to a strong start. Jesus, get my lawyers on the horn.
Don't get me started. Okay, so a lot of people are on a lot of different stuff. I'm very familiar with that space. There is a reason, you see these people and it's like they don't age. It's because these products are available to a lot, to people, and they're willing to spend the dough to get the outcomes. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that, HGH doesn't work. It 100% does. Our company just makes a product that elicits the same type of benefits that synthetic drug does. We just do it non-synthetically because I don't personally believe in a lot and putting people at risk that aren't absolutely necessity. Excuse me. Let me re-say that. I don't believe in putting individuals at risk who don't need to be at risk. And what I mean is weighing that risk. You mentioned Lyme disease. That's very different.
It was still legitimately one of my concerns. I was like, okay, it's made by Pfizer. Look, my opinion of Pfizer has changed a little bit post 2020. But I'm like, okay, it's synthetic. I'm like, it's something that my body makes. There's probably a negative feedback loop if I'm taking large quantities of synthetic stuff. And we don't, and then, if there's latent cancer that your body doesn't know about, that can also be a problem.
So there's, anybody who's listening to this show, clearly cares about what we're talking about or maximizing human potential, et cetera. And they can go on and they can Google all this stuff. And there will be studies going both ways. But with the individuals we deal with and especially in the medical application for an anti-aging application or performance enhancement application, the reason people come to us is because those risks exist. They exist for a reason. Or, you're taking a synthetic drug and you're injecting it into your body exogenously. Okay.
And I've literally never recommended it for anyone else. I took it myself for a short period of time because I was like in a really rough spot, and I've never had a single client take synthetic HGH.
Don't get me wrong. The product works. However, anytime you take a synthetic drug, especially exogenous hormones, there will be trade-offs.
Yeah.
Okay. There will be trade-offs. There's no, there's no shot.
Biological free lunch.
People, I mean, there's no shortage of stories of, ex-bodybuilders and athletes who are walking out, at dinner with their family and they drop dead in the parking lot. It's, clearly people take this stuff too far, but at the same point, those risks exist and they occur in people differently, depending upon your own human physiology. They exist. We make products for individuals who are not interested in those risks. The benefit cost, or the benefit risk ratio does not work for them. So we offer them something that's different.
The synthetic stuff is also insanely expensive. Like
it is.
Insanely, like
highly regulated.
Yeah, highly regulated. The dose I was taking.
Do you know why HGH was even created?
It's for children with
it's for children.
Yeah,
it's for children with human growth hormone deficiency because they can't grow.
One of the kids down the street from me had it.
Were you stealing it from his
growing up? Yeah,
that's a.
Hey, can Johnny come out and play? And then
he's on. Yeah. So human growth hormone originally, when it was found, they were extracting it from human cadavers from their bodies. Okay. And then it became, it worked really well, right? So then it became popular and they started doing the recombinant DNA, having bacteria spit this stuff out. And that's what the synthetics are made out of. But as time goes on, it's highly regulated now for any type of anti-aging or performance application. Highly regulated, which means it's highly expensive. So depending upon which state you're in, it might not even be allowed to be prescribed for anything other than, an 8-year-old who can't grow. So if you're looking for performance enhancement benefits, if you're looking for, anti-aging benefits or skin or all that kind of fun stuff, depending where you're at in the country, prices are going to fluctuate, typically anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 a month. And you got to find the right doctor that's going to do that. All that stuff is not why people come to us. Is why people come to us because they don't want to deal with any of that noise.
And I'm going to say one last thing on the synthetic side. A lot of the doctors that are prescribing this stuff sort of look like jacked Frankensteins. I don't know. That's my observation. I'm not naming any names. It's just like, whoa, something doesn't look right, bro.
So, yeah. It's we're in Florida, so we're in kind of like the anti-aging capital of planet Earth. Yeah. Especially when you're talking about cash pay physicians who all they do is hormones. There's no shortage here of physicians' offices. All they do is write scripts for testosterone or whatever you want, and you pay them cash, and you walk out the door, and you walk down the street, buy needles and your injections, and you go to town.
The industry's out of control. Okay.
So,
all right. Let's
that's where we come in.
Like, what are some of the ingredients and nutraceuticals that can naturally boost HGH?
I'll speak specifically on mine because that's what I'm allowed to do. I don't like to talk about other people's products or whatever because.
And also, like, what you've seen in the scientific literature to support those claims,
Okay. Well, that's easy because I'm going to talk some few specific terms. And then if individuals want to jump in and start Googling, I mean, you could literally spend all day doing this. And we have people that do. I mean, answering questions just on social media, just throwing research all over the place. So when we're getting into what ingredients and nutraceuticals, et cetera, we primarily focus on growth factors. So that's important to know because HGH is secreted by the pituitary gland in your brain. And before it's used, it's sent to the liver to be metabolized. Okay. The liver transforms it into what are called growth factors. The growth factors are what are sent out into cells to tell them what to do. Okay. So growth factors are what are called protein cytokines. They are cellular signaling devices. Without them, your cells have no signal to tell them to do something. For instance, let's talk about, people love talking about muscle tissue and recovery. Okay, well, there's specific growth factors that literally signal cells to multiply and differentiate in your muscle tissue. So that way, well, if they're multiplying, they are growing or they are healing. So it's the growth factor that does that. That's what we create. We create products that are heavily concentrated growth factor products. And then we add another, several other ingredients for maximizing the actual absorption rate of those growth factors into your cells through cellular permeability.
Okay, so what would be like an example of a growth factor in the human body? And then what type of growth factors do you guys use?
Everybody's favorite is always IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1. It's the direct metabolite of HGH. It's responsible from everything from muscle tissue growth to actual soft tissue like ligament, tendon healing, wound healing. It actually is directly related to erectile dysfunction and sexual function. You can directly tie men with erectile dysfunction with low IGF-1 serum levels. It's also a really great precursor or kind of red flag if you're younger and have low IGF-1 that you're probably going to end up with ED. That's what the science would show. So insulin-like growth factor 1 is a huge one that we like to talk about a lot. It's the most present in our product, and it's easily measurable on blood tests.
So that's an ingredient in your product?
It's found within it's a constituent of the product that we extract from. Yeah. So we extract this product. It's a matrix, what we say, of growth factors. There's 13 different growth factors that are found within the extraction of our product. So insulin-like growth factor 1 is one of them, and it's naturally occurring, and it's molecularly identical to what your body's already producing. So the cool thing about that, and then I'll mention some other growth factors. You mentioned earlier negative feedback loop.
Yeah.
And that's what, for people who are listening who don't know what that is, because that's like, a term, is that just means when you take an exogenous hormone, what your body notices that exogenous hormone, that synthetic drug, and it shuts off natural production. That's called a negative feedback loop, right? You're taking it, so your body's shutting it off, so it's not going to produce any more on its own naturally, so you have to continue to take something exogenously or from the outside, right? Happens with TRT. Once you're on TRT, you're on it. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm not saying it's not for the right people, but once you're on it, you're on it. With our product, you don't have that negative feedback loop because it's completely non-synthetic and it's 100% molecularly identical to what your body already produces. So it doesn't shut off your natural production.
What's it coming from? What's the source?
We actually extract it very similar to PRP, if anybody's familiar with platelet-rich plasma injection. So with PRP, you extract your blood, you spin it in a centrifuge, you concentrate the actual useful stuff, for lack of a better term, and then you mix it with an fluid and you inject it into whatever area you're trying to use. We do the same thing, but we actually extract the growth factors from a living mammalian organ from elk.
No kidding.
Yes. So there's so we use I wish I came up with it, but I didn't. It's been used for decades. It's just the way that we do it is.
Dude, I've been trying to eat elk for I'm going to start hunting elk because I want to eat more elk because I've heard it just makes you a manimal.
Are you going to do like bow hunting where you're getting a guide and you're actually going to stalk the animal?
Yeah, I mean, I've done it. I went elk hunting.
That's the only way to do it, man.
With a compound bow. I didn't get to even fire a single arrow, but it was fun.
I mean, people don't realize how hard that stuff is. Like they get on hunters and stuff. They don't realize. They think that like you're just going out there and you're like tricking the animal. Number one, an elk can kill you. It can absolutely kill you, and they will. Moose kill people all the time. Yeah. So it's not like this thing you're 1,000 yards away, taking a poke at something and killing them. Like, so people will probably get on your case for that. But I don't think people realize how hard that is, especially with a bow. You got to be within 50 to 75 yards at best, and you better be the man at 75 yards. But anyway.
And they're so smart, and their noses are so good. I mean, we were stalking one for 4 or 5 hours through like this terrain where I'm like, I'm going to die. I'm going to fall off the mountain and die. It was like steep, but it was the only way to keep following the herd. And then the wind changed, and they were just gone. And my buddy's like, hunt's over, bro. And I'm like, after all that? And I'm like, I'm like, what do we do now? And he's like, walk home.
Walk back. Walk back. Imagine if you would have actually taken an elk and then you would have had to gut him and then drag him out of the woods. That's always the funnest part.
But that's fascinating that the source is elk. All right. I
can't wait to get emails from that talk. But
let me know if you want me to run your PR campaigns.
Yeah, dude. The next call I'm going to make is an attorney, and then I'm going to call my PR agent and be like, dude, what did you get me into? Okay. And then my attorney's going to be like, all he's going to hear is dollar signs. Okay. So, elk. Yes, elk antler. So the only mammalian organ on Earth, so the only organ any mammal actually fully regenerates on its own is the Cervidaean antler. So meaning Cervidaean is a species. It just means like deer, moose, elk. Those antlers grow in every single year. They fall out every single year. But what people don't realize is when they grow, we'll talk about elk because that's specific. They grow about 1 to 2 inches a day. They grow about 600 pounds, and they grow soft and porous. So they don't just grow bone and they're hard. They grow soft inside of what's called a velvet state. Okay, before when the mating season comes and before they go into mating season, those antlers are fully grown. Then they start to calcify or harden like bone. And then they use those antlers after they scrape off, they go into rut, they scrape off the velvet, etc. They use those antlers, for fighting to the death, basically for mating purposes. Before those antlers ever have the chance to calcify, we remove them while they're still in their porous living state. And we can, just like PRP, we can extract those high density, high concentration of growth factors. We go into our whole process of formulation, extraction, and delivery, which will remain IP. But it's very similarly done. You separate the good material from the bad. There's absolutely different grades of the material, and you use what's the best. You throw what sucks out and take it as a human, and because it's the exact same, your body doesn't know the difference, and you're able to offset what your body's no longer making.
That's pretty gnarly. I did PRP once. I had a soccer injury. My knee was nagging. My buddy and I, both of our knees, we were playing men's league, and it was like soccer / fight club every Sunday. It was like the most violent soccer league I've ever played in my life. And we were like, we got to do something for our knees. Like, this is just, they're not healing in the time that we have between games. So we went and did PRP, and they took some of our blood and spun it and injected it back into our knee. And it was like super sore for like 2 days and then healed. Banana. Yeah.
So what your body's doing is, so platelets, your body's using its natural ingredients inside of your body to accelerate the healing, because you have more of them. It's going to heal faster. That's exactly what we're doing. We're just extracting it from another mammal. So you don't have to go get your blood drawn, and it's a lot inexpensive. So instead of spending, $1,200, $2,000 or $3,000 for a few PRP treatments, you can do this for a few $100 every month, and you're, call it a day.
That's fascinating. All right. So, and there's also a lot of people that are taking things like GHRP6 or Samoralin or Ipamorelin. That's different than what you guys are doing, correct?
Yeah, you're talking about synthetic drugs again, and you're talking about peptides. So peptides are single chain aminos. You can only take them for like 3 weeks at a time. If your doctor ever prescribes them for more than 3 weeks of individual singular peptides, get another doctor, because you're not supposed to be doing that. That's where you start to have, the risks factors start to go up, et cetera. Anyway, you're talking about synthetic injections again. What we're talking about are, multi-chain these are full proteins, not single chain aminos. There's a difference. But also, again, remember, these are not synthetic. They're non-synthetic. So they don't cause the side effects that peptides do.
Yeah.
So when you're Googling this stuff and you start to see the studies that are showing like, growth factors increase cancer and growth factors increase this. Remember, those are studies that are done on synthetic drugs, not on a non-synthetic application.
Yeah. Yeah. And guys, if you're enjoying this episode, share it up. If you want to check out like the BioPro Plus product that we're talking about, you go to bioproteintech.com, and we've got a discount code BioHacks that gets you $30 off if you decide that you would like to try it. That's bioproteintech.com, discount code BioHacks. So let's kind of go even deeper on this product and some of the ways that you guys have formulated it, how it works, the feedback that you're getting. I mean, anti-aging, metabolism, libido, immune system, health, skin, cognitive performance, sleep and stress. Dustin, what can't it do?
That's a great question. It can't give you extra discipline, that's for sure. It can't make you get out of bed in the morning. It'll make you feel better about getting out of bed in the morning.
Make you coachable.
It's not going to, dude. It's not, we're laughing about that. But Anthony, what I really do a lot in my day-to-day business is I do product development. That's what I've, spent most of my career doing, is learning how to make products more accessible to human beings and get them to actually use them. Mm-hmm. And so we're joking about like discipline and like how you can't do it. but I literally have built discipline into this product. Like anybody who's looking, like get on your phone, Google it, and go look at what the product looks like. It's literally designed to help you remain disciplined and stay on track. I mean, it even integrates into your phone and dings your phone, messages you when you need to take it and dose it. I'm not kidding.
It hits you over the head with a tack hammer if you miss your dose.
Listen, if I could do that, I would. It's I'm serious. So after when we took over this, when we bought the formulas, right, we actually put a real business behind this and company behind this. One of the first things we did was we reached out to all of the physicians that have been selling this product. Now, remember, this product was only available through doctors for a decade. So the first thing that we did, it was not available to normal individuals. It was only sold through physicians. So physicians called the company up. They go, yo, we want to carry this. We want to provide this. George said, okay, cool. They sent them a bunch of kits, a little bit of education, knock yourself out, docs, go for it. We still do that. That's still a huge part of our business. We just help to get this to normal individuals as well that don't have the physicians to provide this. Anyway, point being is we asked them, what's the main problem with the product? Where does the product suck? And it was the same thing across the board. It was always like, if you could just get the patients to take it every day, they're not realizing how great it works because they forget to take it. So what do you think we did? If you go and look at the product now and you look at the actual box and the application that integrates to your phone, et cetera, we've done our best to remove that. So you're making jokes about hitting people over the head with the hammer. I did everything I could to make it literally do that by dinging your phone every time you need to take the product.
Yeah.
So, and this is try and take all the hard work out of it.
And it's also, you don't have to inject yourself with anything. Like I did inject myself. This is sublingual.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of needles. Most, anybody who's using our product typically isn't. Mm-hmm. Most individuals are not thrilled when they find out that they have to, when they get prescribed their hormone medication, that it's not like you go to the doctor and they do it for you. It's you get sent a kit home. You have to mix this stuff yourself. Okay, so you have to mix the water with the drug. You got to shake it up. It's got to stay cold. Then you have to inject it. Well, how much do I inject? Is there air in the needle? This is terrifying stuff. Anybody who's seen, any James Bond movie about, injections and all this stuff and evil villains using it, it would terrify me. Is there air in this needle? Did I put too much? Did I put enough? Am I using this? Did it sit outside too long? And then now they just ship hormones to your door in like cold packs. Well, how long does it sit outside? Was it out so long? Did the neighbor kid mess with it? That's terrifying to me. So we never did that, but we eliminated that issue from individuals is, hey, this is stable at room temperature. This sits right on top of your bathroom countertop. You just shake it up. It's already pre-dosed. It comes in a single vial. You take the vial, you throw it away. It's, one day at a time. Keep it super simple. Why make this more complicated than it has to be?
Yeah. Interesting. So if you're trying to figure out if someone needs your product, right? I'm sure most people could benefit from increasing their HGH levels. Are we looking at on a blood test like IGF-1 and
absolutely.
And are there any other markers data points where people could if they have their blood labs, they could be all right, my HGH is here. It should be here. If I integrate BioPro Plus, can I expect my IGF-1 to go up? Can I expect to have higher HGH levels? Even though HGH isn't really measured in blood tests, IGF-1 is a good proxy.
People don't realize that either. Is they're not even getting IGF-1 tests. Their doctors are doing these hormone tests. Are not asking for it. They don't even know that it exists. HGH is not talked about the way testosterone is talked about. Yeah. Because testosterone's cool right now, right? Everybody's it's cheap, it's easy, it's affordable, awesome, great. And our testosterone levels as men are down. If people knew the actual numbers, just naturally how they're decreasing, it blows people's minds away. I think the average male testosterone level today is exactly the same. The average 25-year-old, I believe it is. Now, I could be off a few years, but it's in the 20s. 25-year-old's average testosterone level is equivalent to a 67-year-old male in the year 2000. Now, if you took that to 1944, you are looking at a completely different human being. Physically.
It's equivalent to a 6-year-old girl in 1944.
Dude, it's a different world. And people don't realize how different. These are different individuals entirely. Yeah. So anyway, So what people don't realize is, great, there's testosterone. That's a male dominant hormone. With women, it's estrogen. That's a female dominant hormone. Both men and women both have testosterone and estrogen. It's different ratios, which makes you male or female. But anyway, growth hormone and growth factors, its end result, is not sex dominant. It is equal among those other hormones. And here's a really crazy fact that people seem to not even know, and physicians may not even know, is if you are lacking in human growth hormone, your ability to exert the benefits from a testosterone or testosterone replacement can be nothing. So if you are zeroed out of human growth hormone, and that does happen, it's rare, but it does happen, you cannot exert the benefits of a testosterone. So it's like they work in conjunction together. To get back to your question, human growth hormone is metabolized into growth factors like IGF-1. Yes, you can do an IGF-1 test. Blood results, depending upon the individual, will show a wide variety of point increases, right? That's absolutely subjective to the individual taking it. But that is a great biomarker, for lack of a better term. We love when people use the really popular one right now is Whoop. You know Whoop? Yeah, the Whoop band. Our Whoop results, and I don't work with Whoop. I wish I did. I wish I would have bought stock in Whoop.
They're doing good for themselves.
Yeah. If you look at Whoop results of our users, and we share stuff from our users on Instagram all the time, it is mind blowing. The recovery. We had one guy who increased his recovery over 68% in the first 5 days.
And this is like, are we looking at like heart rate variability and that sort of thing? I think that's what
Whoop is. It's just his recovery score, overall recovery score, sleep, time in sleep, etc. The sleep is really powerful one that shows people, how much. Because here's the thing. We were joking around. I don't know if we were on air yet or whatever, joking around about pulsing hormones, after your workout or whatever. Men predominantly do most of what we call a hormone dump during sleep. Yeah, you're laughing because I don't think not me, dude. I just pulse all day long.
I don't think we were recording yet.
Yeah, dude. All kinds of fun stuff happens before these things start recording. You should, do a bloopers reel. Let me just go back through and all the crap that I say beforehand. So, in your sleep is responsible for 75 to 90% of your hormone secretion. If your sleep sucks, straight up and down, your hormones will suck. There's nothing that's going to help you. Okay. So we're talking about Whoop and recovery, et cetera. So if you're not like watching that stuff and you're wondering why you feel like crap or why you wake up every day and you hate your life and you hate going to work, look at your sleep first, because if your sleep sucks, and I'm not saying total time in bed, you can sleep 13 hours a day. That's actually bad for you, but you can sleep 13 hours a day. If you're not spending adequate time in one of two sleep cycles or both, your NREM and your REM sleep cycles, it doesn't matter that you're asleep. That's why you can get canned and just hammered drunk and pass out for hours, and you wake up feeling like you wake up feeling like crap because you're not actually getting adequate sleep. You might be asleep for a certain amount of time, but you're not actually getting adequate sleep. So if you hate your life and you feel like crap and you open up you get out of bed every day and you're screaming in your car because you're at work and not saying your job is great, but anyway, you get what I'm saying. Look at your sleep first. Look at your sleep first. If you're not in those adequate sleep cycles, you're not secreting hormone appropriately, which automatically is going to set you up for disaster later on through the day, whether it's metabolically, whether that's your workout, lack of workout results, literally just irritability. I mean, people don't realize when your hormones are jacked and you're kind of a dick around people. I mean, dude, you can head right back to that metric and see where it's at.
Yeah, and honestly, who really even cares if you're healthy on paper if you don't have that? If you're not a compassionate person, if you don't enjoy your life and laugh and feel good and like wake up, excited to live your life. I totally agree. And sleep is such an important linchpin in that. Guys, if you haven't tracked your sleep, get yourself a Whoop band or an Oura ring. And a lot of times I don't know about the Whoop band. I don't have one. I've used an Oura ring for years, and you can put it in airplane mode. So it's not like, emitting on your hand, but it still captures all your data, and it'll tell you if your sleep sucks. And then if you're waking up not feeling great, at least part of the mystery is solved. And then you can start putting some of the pieces back together and really taking a closer look. The other one that we haven't mentioned too, that's a huge problem, is overtraining. there's like on the other end of the spectrum. So like you've got the people that like aren't showing up and aren't putting in the work at the gym. And then you've got the guys that are like overdoing it and, or you know, either overtraining or under recovering, whatever vernacular.
You ready for this? Yeah. You ready for this? There's no such thing as there's no such thing as overtraining.
Under recovery.
Under recovery.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
We used to say that all the time, for athletes. And all real athletes will, like elite athletes will tell you this, is like, you don't win seasons in season. You win seasons in the off season. It's the dudes that take the off season serious and recover are who get better to actually play.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's under recovery.
So like what's sort of the protocol with the BioPro Plus and then do you stack that with anything else? Like for someone that's looking to naturally optimize their IGF levels and their sleep, you know, what would be your recommendations? What are you doing with athletes? What are you doing with entrepreneurs? You know, can you kind of share that with us?
So we're a product company, so we make products. So of course, you know, the first thing that we do is we apply our products to their existing protocol. I have my personal recommendations for workouts and training and nutrition, et cetera. I'm not a physician. I'm not a certified nutritionist. So whatever I'm saying is not, you know, technically legally medical advice. However, our products are always applied into those existing protocols. And why is that? Is because we're able to accelerate their recovery. So think about it this way. If you start off on Monday at 100% and by Friday, and you're training every day, right? By Friday, you're down to 60%. Well, all of those days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, are at less of an efficacy level than somebody who's always training at 100, 90, 99%. So if we can help those athletes recover faster, they're going to be able to get more training sessions in throughout the given time period, let's say a year. And if we're able to get an extra training session in, just one extra training session a week or even a month, that's an extra, you know, anywhere from 52 to 12 extra training sessions a year. Where do you think that lines up over the course of a career of 5 or 10 years? Because it's a massive leap forward.
Yeah, right? It's a huge compound effect.
So, I mean, every athlete has some sort of talent, even the weekend warriors. They're in that sport that they like to, if they're cyclists or triathletes or iron guys, and that's what they train for. And that's, you know, it's not their career. They're a normal dude every day of the week, just like I am. But they're going out every weekend to compete against, you know, Joe Schmo and this guy that's just really pissing them off because he can't beat him. I mean, the guys that are going to recover better in between those competitions and in between those training sessions are the guys that are going to exceed, whether that's on a playing field in front of, you know, 2 million viewers a week, or whether that's on a playing field of, you know, 50 dudes running a sprint try. Mm-hmm. I mean, do you want to win or do you want to win? It's, you know, we're not for everybody. We're for guys who want to win. I mean, if you want to lose, we're not, you know, we're an investment like anything else. So we're for guys who want to take it to the next level. So
protocols, is this something you take it daily?
Take it daily. It's an individual vial. It's 4 weeks inside of it. We call it a kit, but it's inside of a box. Each individual vial is already pre-dosed. There's 1 through 28, so exactly 4 weeks. Activate it with your phone. That way your phone will ding you every time you need to take your dose. You check it off as you go. It'll remind you to take it. You don't need to worry about dosing because it's already pre-dosed. It's a maximum dosage. But the thing is that your body, because it's not a synthetic drug, it will use as much of the active ingredients as it can. And then anything that you cannot use, you will just excrete through urine or sweat. So you don't have to worry about, like, you know, that's a question we get all the time, which is, well, am I taking too much? You can't take too much. Take as much as you can. You can't take too much. You'll just excrete what you're not using. So you add it first thing in the morning, empty stomach, your feet hit the floor, vial underneath your tongue. It expresses the blood vessels in your mouth to absorb the active ingredients directly into your bloodstream. So that way we can avoid as much as we can the digestive tract. That's why we're not big fans of capsules or powders or any type of thing.
A lot of people's digestion sucks, honestly. Like their absorption and assimilation of nutrients is poor. They've got low stomach acid because they're
So that's a whole nother thing. And we actually we've created what we call a genetic activator. It's a three-piece formula we add to the growth factor formula to increase cellular permeability, meaning the ability for your body to even absorb what you're taking. And I wanted to touch on that. I stopped you, Anthony. We didn't even talk that we were going to talk about this, but that's a massive issue. Mm-hmm. People, especially in Western cultures, have no idea the rate at which they do not absorb nutrients and vitamins. And it's not their fault. It's absolutely an over farming issue, meaning whether your food is organic or whether it's not, the way that we farm food these days completely strips the soil of natural ingredients, that vitamins, minerals, essentials that your body needs to operate appropriately. So you can just be, you're killing it. You're eating your greens and you're eating your meats and you're on your nutrition plan and you're killing it, but your body still is lacking a ton of different vitamins and minerals that is decreasing your cellular ability to absorb nutrients. So we add what we call a genetic activator, and it increases the permeability of nutrients and vitamins. The studies would show in vitamin absorption anywhere from an increase of 500 to 2,000%.
What's in that?
Well, if I told you that, then I would. There are three very specific ingredients. They're on the label. You can go look them up. Trying to formulate them, go for it. But there's Shilajit, aloe vera extract, and lithium or goji berries.
Oh, nice.
So Shilajit is really cool. People don't know about it. The ancients in Himalayan culture used to call it mountain blood or rock sweat. So it's this really cool material that's formed from tectonic plates coming together during literally the earth moving. And those plates, I know you can't see my hands. I'm making all kinds of cool hand movements. But those plates come and they press together. And as they press together, they're driving these nutrients from deep within the soil and the earth in between rocks. And as the mountain heats in the sun, this gelatinous material, which science doesn't know whether to categorize it as geological or like organic plant matter.
Yeah.
But anyway, it literally seeps from the rocks, from the heat, and ancients have been using this Shilajit material forever. And it increases nutrient absorption, it increases hydration, it increases all this really cool stuff. So again, we concentrate it, put it into a specific extraction. We add it to our product because of the science behind it of increased nutrient absorption. Shilajit is really cool.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And there's tons of research showing that it increases absorption of everything, including like coenzyme Q10 for mitochondrial performance.
It actually shows increases in testosterone levels for males. People that have used Shilajit specifically have shown large increases in testosterone in males. So that's a really great natural thing. If you want to go out and run out and get some Shilajit, again, make sure you know where it's coming from. But anyway, so we use that. We use aloe vera extract and we use lithium goji berries because they have tons of science behind them for increases of absorption, which is really cool because we always get questions of like, hey, can I use this with TRT? Yeah, 1,000%. Because most of our physicians show an increased absorption rate of the other drugs and synthetics that they're on, and it makes them work better.
For sure. And I love that all those things have been around for thousands of years and being consumed for thousands of years. And like now the science is kind of catching up. We're like, oh, the Shilajit not only has these adaptogenic properties where it can like strengthen and tonify the body, but it also increases the absorption of other nutrients. Oh, and it also contains humic and fulvic acids and all these different micronutrients that we used to get, but as you mentioned, are like now stripped from the soil and the produce that we consume because of modern farming practices, essentially. So that's really cool. Okay, so basically you take and guys, if you're appreciating the wisdom that Dustin's sharing, share this episode. Let him know that you appreciate his time and wisdom and knowledge, and go to bioproteintech.com. Enter discount code biohacks to grab your BioPro Plus. So you take one of these per day, and then anything else on the BioPro Plus side that we need to know.
First off, the website's great. But if you have like real questions and you want real-time feedback, or you want to see what other people, experience with BioPro Plus, go to the Instagram. That is like completely a ton of user-generated stuff. We love when people send us things. We get so much material from organic, authentic testimonials and guys just messaging us being like, man, I can't believe how this works, or just asking us questions. Go to the page and ask. Someone's there. They will answer real questions. If you want studies, they'll provide you studies. It's like, that is kind of our little community there. It's not, a normal, page you go to and they're just trying to hard sell you the whole time. It's simply information. Go there, ask your questions. You'll get a real answer quick. With the BioPro Plus side, it's easy. You take the product, you take it every morning, follow the instructions, do your thing, make sure you track what you're doing, and pay attention to your body, right? Everybody's experience is subjectively different because depending upon what you're suffering from, those are typically the symptoms, if that's what the product is applied for, that you're going to feel differently. So we always like to add on, we make a sleep formula where you can add on the PM formula as well. It's a lot less expensive. You take it at night, and that blows people's socks off. We like to say it helps you get 8 hours of sleep in 6, but it's way less of an investment. We call it I was laughing to you about this earlier. I was like, we call it our gateway drug because anybody that's skeptical of our flagship BioPro Plus product is like, does it really work? I'm like, dude, take the sleep product. You'll be back in 4 days to take the AM product because it works the first night you take it. And I know that it does. So you go ahead and take it and you'll be like, okay, these guys are legit. These guys are for real. This works. Let's rock and roll.
Nice. And I want to talk about, some of what's in the Core to Sleep PM in just a second, but I guess, so like on the BioPro Plus side, you mentioned erectile dysfunction, you mentioned recovery. What are some of the other changes that people are seeing, within, let's say, like the first 30 or 60 days?
Okay. Let's talk about what they see in the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
Nobody likes to talk about what they see in like 60 or 90 days. Nobody wants to wait that long.
Yeah.
What if I told you, the way that they, feel in the first 2 weeks is massively different. Most guys will see a huge increase in their libido. Guys will see a physical response in how they wake up in the morning. If you catch my drift, some guys aren't ready for it. They don't even know that that's going to happen. They're like, whoa.
Morning tumescence.
Yeah. I mean, you want a physical experience. I mean, that's a physical experience. You'll know it's working. I'll explain why that works or what's happening with that. But also energy levels. One of the guys we have, a golf dude that we've worked with, he says it like this. He says it's like living in HD, where his focus, his ability to concentrate, and his mental cognition, like the way he feels and can think and focus, was dramatically different. We had another gentleman who he called the office here and wanted to speak with someone because he was using it for 12 days, and he wanted to speak with somebody because he wanted to make sure he wasn't crazy. And I'll explain. He didn't understand why he felt so good. And he was very concerned that he had a real issue that he was like, whoa, what's going on here? He lives in Chicago. His name's Dominic. Lives in Chicago. And he says when he called, he's like, I know you guys don't know me and I'm a real, basically in his own words, he's super cynical. He's kind of a dick. That's his thing in life. And he woke up, and I think it was still snowing. It's probably still snowing in Chicago for all I know. He woke up, he looked out the window, and he goes, man, today's going to be a great day. And he said to himself, he goes, whoa, I don't say stuff like that. And he called us on the phone and wanted to make sure, nothing was bad was happening to him. And it was, a lot of this stuff can be traced back to underlying issues you might not know that you're suffering with. When it comes to erectile dysfunction, when it comes to energy levels, you could be talking specifically about blood sugar utilization or insulin sensitivity issues, et cetera. And I know those are big words. However, let's just say it like this, where you've done enough damage in your life prior to 35, 40 years old, where your body no longer knows how to use its own blood sugar the right way. A lot of times it leads to things like diabetes, et cetera. So if your blood sugar is off, your blood sugar tells your body how to use food, how to transport it into energy. Anthony, I know you know all this stuff, so you can jump in here. But basically what's happening is, you live your life so long with such low energy levels where you're just struggling to get through the day. When these things start to change, you immediately boom, snap, things change. And within a week, 2 weeks, you're like, whoa, I forgot this is how you're supposed to feel. When it comes to erectile dysfunction or libido, that's a blood sugar issue too. A lot of guys don't know a massive amount of erectile dysfunction and sexual dysfunction issues can be directly related to low insulin like growth factor 1 levels and undiagnosed diabetes. So, it's not working because they have blood sugar issues. But also growth factors within, they actually can increase the blood oxygen potency level in your blood, which circulation, they can help heal blood vessels. They increase nitric oxide production. There's naturally occurring arginine in there as well. So all of these little blood builders are going to really help with circulation, smooth muscle regeneration, blood vessel regeneration, even nerve repair. So boom, all of a sudden something's working like it didn't work before. And now, now you're ready to rock and roll. You're ready. Those are things that can impact BioPro Plus users very quickly.
Awesome. And then before we kind of land this plane, let's talk a little bit more about the Core to Sleep PM. What's in that?
Yep.
How does it work? What's some of the science behind that product?
So that is a 100% natural product. We like to say it's a 100% all natural alternative to prescription sleep aids. That's kind of our little pitch.
Which are a nightmare.
So you're telling me you're talking about habit forming, addiction.
Yeah, that whole category of hypnotics. If anyone's taken a sleep medication, that category of hypnotics has been shown to increase your risk of death from all-cause mortality by 300%. Just think about that.
Sleep aids to me are terrifying.
Yeah.
And that is something we'll be pushing and doing a lot of sleep stuff hard here. We're just getting off the ground from a sense of direct consumer usage of the product right now. But sleep is a big deal, man. We talked about it a little bit before, but sleep drugs, if you don't need them, don't take them, man. There's so many better ways. I have no problem going on here and saying as a person, an individual, that I do not believe in them. I do not think they are a safe recourse. And I'm not, aside from my company, that is a personal opinion. Mm-hmm. I do not believe in them. Stay away from them. That is my own opinion.
I agree with your opinion.
They cause, they're drugs, dude. They are narcotics, and they can cause massive habit forming issues. They cause hallucinations. They cause people wake up behind the wheel of their car, driving, and they have no idea. People are hurt. It's insane. So we get messages a lot from not necessarily from the individuals on them, but from family members of hey, can this help my brother? Because he's been taking X drug for X long, and he hates it and he hates his life, and they don't know that there's any other recourse. So anyway, we created this product. It's delivered the exact same way sublingually. You take it 30 minutes before bed. It's 100% natural. And what it does is, it doesn't knock you out, right? It's not like taking a sleep drug where you're taking it and you're knocked out. Yes, it's going to help induce sleep in you. But, it's not do not use heavy machinery.
But then, then you got to take Adderall in the morning to wake up. And
dude. It's just, exactly, dude. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's this constant circle of take this drug. Well, to offset this drug, you got to take this drug. Yeah. And then it's a racket.
It's nonsense.
Frankly. Yeah, it is. It's absolutely nonsense. So anyway, this has ingredients like bovine colostrum. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with colostrum. I'm sure you are, Anthony. Some of your viewers may not. Colostrum is the very exact same thing that is given to an infant. It's one of the most nutrient-dense products on Earth, period, especially for mammals. It also helps to induce natural sleep cycles, etc. Colostrum, phenomenal ingredient. It's included in the product. We include some of our growth factors as well to reduce stress and cortisol levels. We include mucuna, which is a natural bean-like extract. It's a precursor to L-dopamine. So L-dopa helps with mood, helps with your brain to focus and to calm, can concentrate your brain. Mucuna is awesome. You're a biohack show, dude. You probably know about mucuna and stuff. A lot of high-level CEOs and stuff take mucuna because they want to focus and pay attention.
We've got my dad on it to get him off of Parkinson's drugs.
There you go. Ooh, don't get me started on Parkinson's, man. Parkinson's is a mass. Parkinson's can be directly linked. This is the studies. Parkinson's can be directly linked to several growth factor deficiencies. Growth factor specifically. I've been working with a neurological company that all they make is testing to test for these types of issues in these biopsies, to utilize our product to help offset a lot of these neurological disorders. But anyway, Parkinson's, man, rough. But it's, again, directly linked to low growth factor.
Yeah,
and in the blood.
In many cases, toxin exposure, whether that's you had mercury put in your mouth, or you were exposed to pesticides, growing up, that sort of thing. There's a lot of toxins that then result.
Fluoride, another completely approved drug that was totally okay for everybody.
But it's
if you've ever seen anybody. My wife's going to laugh if she listens to this because I'm a big anti-fluoride guy. If you think about this, they put it, but here's what they don't understand. Nobody sees this. It's put in your water, in your drinking water. If you saw the guys that are dumping it into the water, they are in full body covered, hermetically sealed hazmat suits.
Yeah.
You're drinking this stuff.
If anyone listening to this is like drinking or showering,
spit it out
in tap water, like you need to stop right now and get a quality either reverse osmosis filter or a Berkey filter with the fluoride attachments. Like
I was looking at I was
that.
looking at a house with my wife on Sunday, and the realtors, taking you around doing this stuff, and you look at so many houses, you're like, okay, who cares? At this point, I don't care. Just pick a house, whatever. And I'm going in the garage. I'm looking around. I'm a garage dude.
Yeah.
So I'm in the garage, and she's like, oh, the realtor says this to me. She goes, oh, there's some sort of like water supply thing built in there. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I'm like, wait, explain. This house has this like insanely awesome in-house reverse osmosis, like water supply system in it. Nice. She's not telling anybody about this in the house. I'm like, this is the entire sales point of the house, lady. Don't tell anybody about this.
We'll take it.
Don't tell anybody about this in the house. You don't know what you're talking about. It's real bad.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we could go on for hours about crazy stuff. But anyway, so another dramatically okay thing, but come to find out it's awful for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Anywho, bovine colostrum mucuna, we do our genetic activator in that as well to help increase the permeability and the absorption rate of it. There's a small amount of melatonin in it. It's a very small amount of melatonin to help just induce sleep a little bit. It's less than 2 milligrams or less per serving, so it's nothing. If you are taking, this is just PSA, if you're taking melatonin in a higher dose amount, like 10 milligrams, 20 above every night, stop. Melatonin is a hormone, and you are inhibiting the natural production of that hormone, which is further causing you to have sleep issues. And then you're continuously taking more melatonin and more melatonin. Oh, melatonin doesn't work for me. Oh, it makes me sick. Yeah, you're taking too much. So keep it like 5 milligrams or under. And if you're already past that point, well, then come talk to us because we can help you kind of find something else that works. But just PSA.
Yeah, it's kind of the same.
Melatonin is not good for you either.
It's kind of the same pattern with melatonin and testosterone. There's a lot of people that aren't even interested in figuring out why their testosterone is low or why their melatonin is low. So they just start throwing more of the substance at the problem, which is only going to get
you lunch meat at the wall, see whatever stick.
Yeah, it's only going to get you so far. All right, awesome. So you do the BioPro Plus in the morning under your tongue sublingually. You do the Cortisleep PM 30 minutes before bed. And
yes, sir.
And then if someone's like concerned about the investment associated with BioPro Plus, then start with the Cortisleep PM. We've got discount code Biohacks that gets you a discount on both. $10 off the Cortisleep, $30 off the BioPro Plus. Anything else that our listeners should know? I'm kind of excited about trying this. This sounds dope.
Anything else that they should know? Understand that there are, and whether it's us or other people, there are other avenues to maximize your health, how you feel. You don't have to feel like crap, and you don't necessarily have to run off and take a needle or run off and start taking the next big pill. Try something before you kind of really subscribe to something you're going to be on for the rest of your life, especially something exogenously or synthetically, because there's a reason why there are negative side effects and people shy away, and why a company like me even exists. I mean, I wouldn't exist if those other things were just super great for you all the time and there was no issues. We only exist because there's issues. Yeah.
No, we've gotten a lot of guys off of bioidentical testosterone, and they feel better and they're stronger and they have more muscle, and their libido and erectile dysfunction is improved actually more than when they were taking the stuff exogenously.
Oh, dude, people don't realize they end up taking these drugs to offset certain issues, and they actually cause those issues even further. People don't get that.
Yeah.
Once you start taking some of these exogenous hormones, if you ever want to have kids, I'm not saying that you'll become infertile. I'm saying that the studies now show that they can actually cause you to become infertile.
Yeah.
If you want to have kids, you better think about this stuff while you're in your 20s, taking it super early on, because you might wake up 35, want kids someday, and then going, you can't.
Yeah.
And that would suck.
And when you think about like pretty bad side effects, like how's testicular atrophy, like a shrinking of your testicles?
I mean, yeah, that's a thing. A lot of people they hear the word myocarditis is a new popular word now for other reasons, but it's very popular. Guess what? It has to do with, overuse of testosterone and different type of steroids. Your heart will explode. You wonder why some of these guys, they have these massive chests, and your organs are growing. They're muscle. Those are smooth muscle tissue. Like that's not like a special thing where it's just it doesn't get touched. Dude, your organs are massively growing inside of your rib cage. It's pushing your rib cage out. You look at some of these guys who I will not use names because, we've already, joked about that, but look at them. Something's up. That's what we're talking about.
Totally.
There are problems. So
guys, share this episode up. If you want to increase your human growth hormone levels naturally, go to bioproteintech.com. Got discount code biohacks to save you $30. Pick up the Core to Sleep PM as well if you like. We got $10 off that with the same discount code. Dustin, this has been awesome, man. I've had a good time with our conversation. I'm going to record a nice intro in post to explain that I was joking about any of the names that I mentioned.
I would highly recommend doing
I'm not a doctor. I don't know what I'm talking about. Ignore me. Ignore me. Tune me out.
100%.
But yeah, thank you for the work you're doing, bro. I appreciate it. And thank you for sharing your time and energy and wisdom with us. And guys, bioproteintech.com, discount code biohacks. Hit it up. And thank you, bro.
Thanks, Anthony. I appreciate your time.